Hello and welcome to the next edition of the Agony Aunt video, which is my regular, though there isn't a set date, but regular series of lives when I answer your burning questions related to careers. So far I've talked about client calls, I've talked about managing multiple projects without overwhelm, I've talked about how to present so that you're listened to, and today we will talk about networking. It will definitely not be the last live about networking because it's such a huge topic, and I've already see a couple of other topics that I would love to talk about, and that I would love to answer your questions there. But let's focus on one thing at a time. And today I will talk about the following question. So you would like to start networking, but you feel uncomfortable in large groups of people. So what can you do? And I love this question because as I've started networking myself like 2.5 years ago, like the first idea that I had is that it is like a chore. It cannot be fun. Like it has to be like, it just has to be done. It has to be like this boring event where with lots of people, and it has to be, it's one of the things that just has to be uncomfortable, like, you know, like a visit at the dentist or something like this, right? But it definitely doesn't have to be this way. And something that I've discovered about myself in this process of running my business and in the process of going to different events is that actually those large events are not really for me. I still sometimes go every now and then when there's like an interesting conference, but I just know that they don't work really well for me in terms of my energy levels and also in terms of efficiency. So today I would like to, and in terms of efficiency, just let me add one sentence to that, is that in terms of finding actual clients and meeting new friends or connections. So today in this very short life, although I know I can ramble on, I will share in this short life, I would like to share some alternatives to larger events that you can still find new clients if you need to, find new collaborators, meet new people, get, recommendation, more jobs, or just meet nice new people, kind new people with whom you can connect. So a couple of cool ways that I found the most helpful, the most effective, and I hope they will also offer you some reframe and that you can treat networking not as a necessary chore, but actually something that's fun, because it's an opportunity to learn something new, to meet new people, to get inspired. So it could be really, so I'm happy to share this reframe with you. So without further ado, some of my favorite ways to maintain and nurture my professional relationships without being icky, sleazy, transactional, or without having to go to large events where I feel uncomfortable at. So my number one favorite way is to reach out to my colleagues with whom I used to work. So usually on LinkedIn, sometimes on Instagram, but basically what I do every now and then, like every month, I try to connect with like one person or like two people, depending on how much time I have, just to chat up for like a virtual coffee, no agenda. It's usually like I would see something, or I would see like their post or their story, or I would just like read something and be like, hey, I thought about, like, I saw this and thought about you. How are you doing? Would you like to catch up and grab like a virtual coffee or like a real life coffee if we're in the same city, right? But like, or like a virtual coffee and just chat up and, like no agenda. And funnily enough, like when you start talking, I've had the situation where I was looking for some deals, but I didn't catch up with this person because of that. I just wanted to catch up because I was genuinely curious what they're doing, what they're up to. And I mentioned that I'm actually like thinking about starting those trainings, or I'm looking for clients or whatever. And they were like, oh, actually, you know, I might know someone who knows someone. And very often that leads to some clients and potential deals. Also in my business, I think all but one client came through referrals from my past connections. So it's really, I feel like we really underestimate the impact of people who already know us, who already trust us, and who already have seen our work, right? Because like I like going to new events, and I will talk about ways to meet new people, but relationships, you know, both professional and purely private, they take time to nurture, they take time to build. And I've never had really success in a sense that I would go to event and I would find a client straight away. And I'm not surprised, because like, how would they know I'm in a good? So I've had a situation where I would meet someone on an event, but then we kept in touch, we checked in every now and then that led to a deal, because I've built this trust with them, or they built their trust with me. So especially if you're starting out, reaching out to people you already know, who already like you, who already trust you, is just the easiest way to go about it. Really, it's just like I hate like hacks, but like it is a kind of like a easiest way. Like they already like you, they already know you, and you can meet one-on-one. And if you start, and like I don't want to go too much into this like transactional sleazy part, because I would talk about too much, and I would prefer to put it in like a separate video. But if you have no expectation and just want to catch up for the sake of catching up, that can actually be really helpful. I mean, both ways work, right? You can say straight away that actually like you started this business or whatever, or you're starting this, and maybe do you know someone who's interested, and you can just like cut straight to the chase, or you can just check in and ask. But I think the most important thing is that you are clear with your intentions. Like, you know, some people who are like, oh, how are you? And then they want to sell you something. It's just like, wait, so do you want to know how am I, or do you want me to sell? So my personal approach is that whenever I reach out to some of my old colleagues, it's either or. Either I am genuinely interested in finding out how are they, what are they up to, and I want to reconnect, or I'm saying, hey, I'm having this offer, mentoring, whatever, do you know someone who can benefit from it, or does your company need it? But it's either or, right? So it's either I specify my intention straight away, right? Because then it's genuine. I don't like this like kind of hide and seek, like just tell me what you want. And I feel other people feel it too. So as I said, and that's actually like I put it on my to-do list, like a monthly to-do list, to just keep this in mind, like to reconnect with some folks with whom I haven't spoken in a while. And it's usually like a really lovely conversation that sometimes also leads to some work. So and again, it's one-on-one, right? So if you don't like big events, or you don't live in a large city because you moved somewhere smaller, that's also perfect. Like virtual coffees can be really cool. So that would be my tip number 1. Tip number 2 is I really liked Breakfast app. So this app is available in different big cities, Berlin included, where every day the algorithm of the app matches you with one person. And mostly from what I've seen, they're mostly creatives, entrepreneurs, project managers, product managers, so people working like in tech or in creative agencies, maybe like advertisement as well. It's a paid app. I think it's like 10 euros per month or something like this. And you can just sign up for like a week or a month, like to try it out. And I've had some breakfast in the past and really liked it. Like, and then you meet up, like you match, and then you like meet up in real life for a breakfast, right? Like you have to coordinate it within yourself. And I also found that, yeah, like the people who were there were really interesting. I had some really cool chats, and again, like it's an app where you get to meet folks that you maybe otherwise wouldn't have met. So I found it really cool to learn a bit more about different industries, meet some new people. Also a pretty cool opportunity. When we're talking about apps and like virtual coffees, some of the companies that I was a part of had these apps like these matching apps like Matcha, Donut, and I think they're really cool because it's, especially if you're in like a larger organization and you want to meet new people from your company that you maybe not necessarily directly work with, that can be really cool. And especially if you are maybe a little bit more junior and want to talk with someone more senior, but you're like, I don't know if I like why should I invite them for coffee? Like aren't they like, you know, like whatever you're telling yourself, that could be like a nice way to leverage those apps like Donut or Matcha, because like this app literally matches you with this person and you have like 15-20 minutes to just chat and find out what they're up to, what project they're working on. So it can be also like really cool to meet someone in your company that you don't necessarily work with. Yeah, and you can talk to your like HR people team if they want to introduce it. I found it really, really nice, and it's also one-on-one, and there is this, and then you can meet people whom you normally probably wouldn't have talked to otherwise, and it's also a pretty cool way to make those new connections and use the fact that you're still in the same company. So those apps are also those like matching algorithms are also pretty cool in your company. Another one are communities. So maybe some of you know that I run a book club, and I publish my events on Luma, which is kind of like an Eventbrite and a very similar like platform where there are different events, cultural and tech events mostly. So from what I've seen, most of the people who use Luma, they are most like startups, scale-ups, founders, creatives. So yeah, also some folks who come to my events, like they end up working in like like big companies, and of course we talk about books, but then usually we talk about life, what we're up to, and that's also like a way you can connect. Something happened in my building, and that's also like, it's usually like in a smaller setting. So for example, for my book clubs, usually like three people join, but I set those events for like 6-7 people, so it's just much nicer to have contact with everyone. And that's also how I met some people. I joined other people's book clubs, and it was also a really nice way to connect. And it's kind of like this indirect way, because you meet when you talk about something non-work related, but this could also lead up to talking about careers, and this could be also like a nice way to meet new people, meet new connections from people with like similar interests and similar backgrounds. At least I found it. There are also like business book clubs, so that's a little bit more targeted, because I usually organize novel, like fiction book clubs, so we focus on novels. But there I've seen also some business book clubs, so then it's even more like targeted, right, for this professional setting, and it's in a smaller background, and it's like quite nice. I've always liked those. Same for like like runners or whatever. Like I don't run, but I've seen it also kind of similar. Like there are like founders running clubs or whatever, so it's also like you can find creatives running, so you can find a similar way, and it's also like a nicer way to meet new people and to manage this, to nurture this network. Another one I have, so I have two. Another one would be local Facebook groups. Like I generally don't use Facebook, but I use the groups. I really like Girl International, GGI. It's for women only. So sorry guys. But I found it really helpful. I met some of the friends there. And yeah, one of my friends actually shared a post there being like, hey, I'm looking for a group of women who are interested in career development and who want to meet every now and then and like share, exchange and learn. And that's how we met, and we've been hanging out for the past 2 years. So that was one way. How I like to use those groups sometimes is that I would suggest co-working days together. So I would say, hey, this is my area of expertise, and I'm actually looking for some folks who work in similar industries and want to meet up to co-work together. And there's very often been a lot of interest in this group, so that's also quite cool. And I would, pick a date and like meet with like 3 or 4 people, co-work and exchange, and it was also worked very well. And the last thing are memberships and courses. So that's also a really cool way, which I think not many people think about it this way. Sorry, I need to change position. For example, I belong to like an annual membership with my business mentor. She's Polish, so I can tell you, but everything is in Polish. It's not a secret. But how she runs it, and she's like amazing. Sorry, my dentist texted me. I was at the dentist yesterday. Nobody cares, I'm sorry. Sorry, so my business mentor, she runs like an annual membership where we have like a Telegram group to connect, and I have access to all her courses that she launches in a year. And every course that she manages, it's very interactive, and there's like always like a Telegram channel when we can introduce ourselves and connect. And she leaves like little homeworks after every module where we usually like answer also in the Telegram. So that's also quite cool, because it's literally like you are in the same membership or you are in the same course, so you probably have the same goals, and you can exchange, and you can just say like, hey, I've noticed you in the introduction post that you are, I don't know, doing like yoga for folks and corporations, and I am actually talking about like well-being. Maybe it would be nice that we exchange or whatever, right? So that's also like a nicer way. And added benefit of that is that you don't have to be based in a big city, right? Because it's online. So also like courses, memberships can be a really cool. I can't believe I didn't mention it. Like I'm a part of another one. Sorry, Malin. I'm actually like a part of my friend Malin. I will link. I will link her profile in the description. She runs a mastermind group, so this one is actually free. Like the previous membership is a paid one, and there's like it's like a like courses and so on. So it's a big thing. But my friend Maylan, she organizes like a more informal mastermind. So every month we organize different workshops. So she organizes, and for example, I will be facilitating one on email marketing and lead magnets, which I'm excited about. And that's pretty cool because she started like this group, like a mini mastermind. So I think at core we're like 5 or 6 people, and to different events come different people. So also going to different workshops, like a smaller workshops, like like the one that, for example, she organizes, is also pretty cool because you have like a couple of people, you meet for like 3-4 hours, you come back with some goal met, right? Like for example, the one that I will be organizing will be about creating lead magnets. So you leave the workshop with something tangible, like lead magnet idea created, but you also met some people, exchange ideas, and it's in a smaller setting, like, like 5 or 6 people. So that's also really cool. So joining some workshops that you find interesting, and if you're based in a larger city, there are so many of those. Luma, even Bright. So I highly recommend those. So I hope this short video was helpful. So it's a blend of in real life events and online events that are more one-on-one, that focus more on one-on-one or on smaller groups, that are better for introverts. So these were my favorite ways to connect to other people, to meet more people, find more clients, and still be and that don't require me to go to huge events where I don't feel comfortable at. So let me know if there was something new for you, something that you haven't thought of before. Maybe you have some other ideas on how to nurture your network and your connections. That's fun, that's helpful, and that you enjoy. If you want to work with me one-on-one, so if you have any questions that require like a personalized support, not like a general answer, then you can always DM me, you can always contact me, and we can see if we're a good match. And as always, I also invite you to my newsletter. It's for free. I send emails every 2 months, and it's always like this dose of inspiration on how to create a career on your terms, because I genuinely believe that we need also other options, right? Like, I am so tired of this type of advice that there is only one way to succeed, and it usually sucks and involves you pretending to be someone you're not. I think there are so many ways that you can find clients, collaborate, run projects, and build a career that's on your terms. It requires more intentionality, it might require more effort at first, but it's definitely worth it. So that's what I focus on in my newsletters, that's what I focus on in these lives. So if you resonate and if you vibe with me, then I highly invite you to other places on the internet you can find me. And with that, I wish you a lovely rest of the day. Chat soon.